Okay. Well, it's just you and me. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Bubba. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. So you, merihym, you see there are sort of spectral staircases left on this platform, and as you look at all of them, you see that one of them is solid. It's like this gray marble, and it's going really, really high up, just straight from the side. You see that looking down, you kind of don't see anything, and it's frightening. Um, but your companions, one by one, maybe at the same pace as you, maybe after, maybe before, they start to move towards each of the different staircases.
I think Merihym would go first. He's the one that knows what's going on and more than the others. So I think that he would move first, giving a encouraging nod to Akka specifically.
Sure. Unfortunately, Akka doesn't seem to see you.
Oh, they can't see me. All right.
Well,
Well,
can
then
see you, but doesn't seem to register. You notice that while you are talking and you kind of assume that the others are talking, they're just kind of looking around. Their mouths aren't moving. They're not forming complex expressions.
he docks that or knocks that, and Cap goes up the stairs. He's
Okay.
not gonna waste time.
So as you go higher, they start to twist with every step that you take. The motions that you're taking are the same. You're just walking upstairs, but ahead of you, it looks like at some point you're dipping down. You're turning so that it where you're going to be walking is sideways from where you are now. Um,
Mm.
and eventually, there's no way of knowing if you're going up anymore or if you're going down. If you're defying the laws of gravity, who knows? But there's a shift in what is around the stairs. Instead of the void, and instead of your friends off in the distance climbing their own staircases, you see to your left, at least what you think is your left, you see the village of your birth and infancy.
Hmm.
It's a small crop of old thatched houses surrounding a mill on the river. You see the faces of children who lived there when you were a boy, people your own age, but they're babies and toddlers. You see the faces of old people who now must be long dead, but how you remember them in your earliest scratchings of memory.
Hmm.
It's like deja vu, but more
Okay.
specific. To your right, you see something that isn't familiar. It's a very odd village. There are buildings that completely dwarf you. Um, then beside them, seemingly in some type of pattern, there are more normal-sized dwellings for people around your size. They're oval in construction with sloping roofs, almost like boats turned upside down. You see adults that are taller than you, walking beside people who are proportioned and have the faces of children who are taller than them. And
Hmm.
way in the distance, you can see people who are taller than some mountains that you've seen in your life, Merihym. Uh, this whole place, when you sort of look, craning your head to see up from the angle that you can understand, there's this dome of white gray clouds that sort of mold over some mountains that seem to be at the barrier of some small farms around these houses. Um, there is a hole through the dome that is just a straight line, and that's where the sunlight is shining through. And you, Merihym, being as smart as you are, you recognize that the line is where the sun is going to move today, so that there is
Mm.
always direct sunlight until
Sunlight.
sunset.
Okay.
Uh, The field is covered in snow, and there are massive mountains even within the village. It's a very large village. It's just such a small number of houses that it must be a village, and the larger inhabitants are probably able to move around it as easily as your father could walk through your home. Um, there is a central keep that is built into the largest mountain there. It is a castle built for giants. But as you climb, the green tall grass of the Amonsian province has begun to creep under the stairs, it seems. It's overtaking the snow. And then it seems to be growing up even past the stairs, so that if you wanted to, you could reach out and run your hand through it. Um,
I will.
and yeah, you do. Feels like nice home. It feels fresh. You know, it feels like you are a boy exploring the fields around your home. And the stairs seem to be leveling out. You're not climbing as high. And then you realize that you're walking forward, but there is still the line of each step is there, but it's just
Mm.
flat. And ahead of you, there is a field that you will be able to walk on in just a moment. But with each step that you take towards it, what you can see is getting larger. Because what you can see, looking down, are rows of stone staircases. And they look like, model size. Like an architect planning a city would have one of these. But as you
Gotcha.
get closer and closer, the grass gets taller, and you get shorter. And then you realize that you have shrunk because each of these staircases is incredibly. It looks like a very high climb.
Hmm.
And Merihym, you come here, and you notice that there are 4 rows of these stairs, and from what you can see, the first 2, at least, are missing a staircase. There is movement in the grass surrounding you, but it seems to be moving cautiously.
Hmm. Let's see. So these two I can see. I can't see that this one's missing.
Yeah, you can't see that. If you got a different angle, you would be able to see it easily. It's not like hidden from you. It's just the moment. It's not really at an angle that you can make it out
Yeah.
perfectly.
Okay. I think Marheem would be cautious in this moment, obviously. And he'd be moving stealthily around the perimeter to see if any of the steps, or if he notices like anything different about each of the steps, or if they all seem identical.
Sure. They all seem identical, and now you notice that as you go to look up, you can see that there is now like a silvery roof uh,
Hmm.
there, but there is a central light that is making it so that you can see easily. And then you can see that there seems to be natural daylight coming in from the top of each of the stairs. But each of the stairs seem to be pretty much identical. There's no missing steps. They seem perfectly manicured.
All right, then he's gonna. And you said that the steps are like taller than he is at this point. Like each step is taller than him.
No, like you could climb them as easily as you climbed the steps that you took to get here.
Got you. Okay. But the steps behind me are tall. Okay.
When you look back, they are actually gone.
Oh. Okay. All right. Well, I guess in that case, Marian's gonna try walking forward,
Okay.
not up the stairs.
When you come here, you see something move back away from you in the grass.
Um. Okay.
Hmm.
He's gonna walk
Friend?
slowly towards it.
Friend?
And who might you be?
Are you here to hurt us, or are you here to? Are you a friend of the dragonfly man?
I'm not here to hurt anyone. I am here to ensure my friend's safety.
Please be polite. Then, and the grass starts to part as something is moving towards you, and what you see is a mouse that is about your size now. And she is wearing a beautiful sundress. And she has a large parasol over her shoulder.
Well, hello. A pleasure to meet you.
Hello. What is your name?
My name is merihym. And what is yours?
She curtsies and says, Cornflower.
He bows.
It is lovely to meet you, Cornflower.
It is pleasant to meet you as well.
Are you a friend of the Dragonfly Man?
No. I help the other mice, the younger mice, hide from the
From him?
Dragonfly Man. Yes.
Yes. Well,
I do not want this place to be any further disturbed, but he is not done with us, and so
what does he want?
for a long time we were fooled into thinking that he wanted to ease the mistress's pain. But we realized after a time that he was feeding off of her continued existence.
And the mistress? Who is she?
She is a powerful giantess. Was when she was alive. She rode the clouds and made music of the rain.
Do you know what the Dragonfly Man is?
I have suspicions.
I would love to hear them.
One of the other bonds.
Bonds.
Yes, and she presses a hand to her dress. I was the mistress's bond of Fang in her life. One of the other bonds, Mookie, she believes that he was a god. The friend that Mookie speaks to was a priest in Shuhan, a country that existed when Mistress was alive.
Yes.
Believes that the Dragonfly Man was a devil in a faith that is forgotten now.
A faith from another world, would you say?
No, but a faith that was burned away, cut out, silenced. And he found a way to adapt.
Stay relevant. Yes.
To keep driving fear places. So he is strong enough to come back here and steal from the mistress something that sustains him, that keeps him alive, allows him to hurt us more.
Well, I give you my word that I am not a friend of his. And it would be my honor to help you.
Clack, clack, clack. You begin to hear something moving above the staircase next to you.
Looking at her, does she seem concerned?
She immediately does, and she seems like she wants to run away, but she also seems, You make an insight check.
Okay. Oof. 14?
Yeah, you can tell that she believes you, what you have been saying.
Yeah.
And she seems interested in helping you.
Why don't we hide? Yes?
Yes, I'm very good at hiding. And she runs off into the grass, and if you would like, you can make a perception check to try to find her.
Oh shit.
She is
Okay.
a field mouse, baby.
12?
Yeah,
No.
you cannot find her.
Okay.
The clacking is getting louder.
Am I going to be able to hide from this? Oh shoot, I forgot to change my spells over. Oh well.
But you see not clacking as he comes down, with both hands sort of held tightly behind his back. You see Dalbert coming down the steps. Did you make a stealth check? Sorry.
Sorry, I forgot to make a stealth check.
And how is merihym hiding?
Um, he's gonna be ducking into the grass and behind a staircase and laying low, without moving, because he knows that movement will make the grass more visible. Come on, merihym. 16 stealth check.
Yeah, pretty good. Okay. You begin. So you crouch down, and you see Dalbert is coming down one flight of steps, and behind him, carrying long, intricately carved like bone spears, are two men. But they are wearing armor that makes them look like dragonflies. It's like this shining chitin, and it is sort of arranged like an insect's exoskeleton. So like really thick pieces around the chest, and then like
Gotcha.
interlocking pieces that look kind of like, armor plate, but
Yeah.
are much more like, there are way less open exposed bits. And they have helmets that you see have these large, they're red, by the way. And you can see that they have these ruby sort of visors over both of their eyes that have a bunch of different facets so that it looks like the many-piece insect eye. And they do have translucent dragonfly wings on the back.
Okay.
And they are coming down directly after Dalbert. And he seems to be speaking. We have 4 guests. So you all have your work cut out for you. I think the young one, the half-elf, she will prove the most viable. But the halfling as well. 2 of them must be kept alive, the other 2. If you would like to eat them, you are free to do so. Very good. And both of them yawn. And he says, very good. And both of them nod. And he says, very good. And he walks off and ascends one of the flights of stairs. The others go and descend 2 different ones. This one actually passes right next to you. And then he has moved on. And each of them ascend and seem to disappear.
Chestnut.
Cornflower.
Cornflower, sorry. Cornflower.
Yes? Yes, what is it?
Is there any way for us to find my friends? I think they might be in danger.
Are you alive?
We are.
Then probably not.
What did he mean when he said that they are viable?
I don't know. I haven't spoken to him since we discovered what he was doing. That he was feeding off of the mistress.
Have there ever been any other living people who came through?
She nods.
What happened to them?
Most of them have been eaten by his soldiers. The rest, I don't know. He takes them somewhere.
Do you have any friends?
Yes, I have a friend. Most of
Can
us
you take me to
have a
them?
friend. Yes. Would you like to?
Let's try to do this together.
Would you like
And
to follow me?
yes, I will follow you, but please be a little slower. I'm not quite as fast.
All right. And she starts to move, and then she immediately slows down and looks back at you and just waits.
I'm catching up.
And she points at this staircase and says, "This will take us to my friend. She's very,
Let's go then.
very nice, very helpful. She was a friend of the mistress."
I'd love to meet her.
And as you come to the top, there is suddenly something almost holding you back. You turn to your side and you see that there is floating next to you. You see there's a popular game in Hallandor where there are only 5 cards, but they're more like woodcuts.
Hmm.
They are basically the elements and then iron. So not like the periodic elements, but like Avatar
Yeah.
elements. And you see that floating next to you there is one woodcut for earth, basically dirt with a tree growing out of it, and then there is one for water. And you feel like you can't move on unless you choose.
One.
Yeah.
And the earth has a tree growing out of it, you said?
Yeah.
I'll choose the earth one.
Okay. You reach out and touch it. You gain 5 temporary hit points.
Love it.
Okay. And then you take a few more steps, and you come to what looks like an empty white room. You are there. Cornflower is there. But there is another person there, sitting, and it looks like needling, like needle pointing. There is a woman who looks like she is from Agjum to the south. She is dark of skin. She is wearing kerchief covering her hair, essentially. And she is in a long robe. It is not a robe that seems to be religious. It actually seems to be maybe the exact opposite. You notice that what she is sewing, it is actually very similar to the woodcut that you just took.
Oh, okay. So she's wearing like a bathrobe, essentially?
No, it's kind of like a slightly revealing, like it's like low cut.
A sensual robe.
Yeah, and then you can see that it has like floral patterns along it.
Gotcha. Hello. And merihym bows. My name is merihym. I was told that the two of you are friends.
Oh, sorry, my voice is scratchy, so I can't really play women very well right now. Oh, yes, I'm a friend of Cornflower. Hello.
Hello.
Cornflower runs up, and as she does, you see Cornflower shrinks down to the size of a regular mouse, and then climbs up this woman's side.
I'm gonna approach, like at a normal pace.
Yeah. Hello. What's your name?
My name is merihym. And yours?
My name is Sephra. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too, Sephra.
So I've heard the commotion of you and your friends entering. I do apologize that there's no way for us to keep anyone out.
I understand.
This dragonfly man seems to hold quite a lot of power here.
Indeed, it is not something that we like to directly go against, but there are, of course, efforts in place by those of us who miss our friend to, keep what's left of her intact and safe.
If I might ask, I know that Cornflower here and some of the other soul bombs of your friend are still around. Why are you here? How, I suppose, are you here?
Oh well, I'm a memory. I exist as my dearly departed friends' memories of me. You know, we keep each other alive by remembering each other when we're gone, but we also take those memories with us when we leave. The body, Sephra, the real soul, Sephra, she's probably long gone. I've been here for hundreds of years, so.
Well, that certainly answers one question. Although I think that it might present some other ones entirely different. If I am to understand, this realm, shall we call it, isn't created from the Dragonfly Man. It's created from your friend's memories, from her soul.
That's close. I think the easier way to understand it is maybe it's the conflict between the two has given rise to this place.
Interesting.
Cornflower can only just barely keep in contact with which of the soul balls is it? Cornflower, in a much squeakier voice, says, "Mookie." Yes, Mookie. So, a mind is currently divided because it's much harder for it to stand.
So what we need to do is reunite the mind, if that is what you were saying.
Yes, the different parts of my friend's identity have been taken apart. Memories of different parts of her life are scattered and kept separate. Different, very important things are out of reach from each other.
And I saw a bit of my past, correct?
You did, yeah. You saw where you were as a baby.
Huh. Can you explain how I saw where I was as a baby, as an infant?
That's probably something to do with the what Cornflower and some of the other spirits call the Dragonfly Man. Dalbert. He, we can say his name, just not the mistress's mind. He is able to conjure things, take things. You are in a place of his possession, and so I think he's starting to pull you apart and see what he can understand about you.
Well,
And at that
don't we
point,
just love that?
you feel something on your side.
What would that be?
It is Tavaline Screamai, your rapier from back when you fought on the front lines a little bit.
What is this doing here?
I think that he is fucking with you.
I think I would agree.
And merihym unbuckles the scabbard and lets it fall to the ground.
It does. And it falls sort of through the floor. Oh. That might not be the best.
Does that mean that they know where we are now?
Well, no, but like I said, we're all separated, but he's not. So anything of his making, any of his little games, those are gonna be able to reach across. And as she says that, you see something happening. You see
Uh-oh.
Akka in a desert. It's just like a patch of sand, and in the middle of it is Akka, who is walking in this sand. And you see, sprouting up from the ground right in front of him, there is a massive tree. And the roots all reach out and basically gobble Akka up.
Oh shit.
Then you see Althea. And she is... Where is Althea? Oh, you see Althea, and she is walking through kind of a desert. She's walking through like a rocky dryland sort of deal. And you see that she... there is behind her a large... you just kind of instinctively know that it is invisible to her. Hey, unfortunately, this segment of the adventure was eaten by the recording, which is unfortunate. But I will just fill you in on essentially what happened. Merihym went forward into a cavernous area, and there he met a donkey, a jackass that he named... Well, that he found out was named Ezekiel. And this Ezekiel, the donkey, was able to speak with Merihym once he cast Speak with Animals. And they were able to overcome a large chasm. Merihym, Cornflower, and Sephra working together. They went forward with Ezekiel as well, and kept running into more and more of the mistress's memories of a house being constructed and blue amulets being given to the mistress and her family, about seeing the blue sticks that a large group of humans and giants were playing games with. There were a number of blue things that occurred in these memories. Unfortunately, they made their way forward and saw Harold after a certain time traveling. And once they saw Harold immediately recognized the donkey as one of the Dragonfly Man's soul bonds. Merihym put down the soul bond and then was attacked by one of the Dragonfly soldiers. And now we're back into it. Thank you. Basically a massive dinosaur. I'm going to pause really quick. Sorry. I'm going to pause the recording. I have to answer
Yeah,
the
go
comment.
ahead.
Okay.
When a soul bond dies, it can have disastrous repercussions on the person whose bond it is.
I'm going to say to Harold. Or, not Harold, Ezekiel.
Harold did promise not to hurt you. I made no such promise. And it seems to me like you are in a situation where I am in control. Am I wrong?
You're not technically wrong.
Yes, I didn't think I was. So this is the situation. Seems like in order to protect my friends, I have to harm your master. And the best way for me to do that is to harm you. I'm not exactly one for harming innocent, but you are not an innocent, are you? Nor am I one for harming those who cannot protect themselves. But I'm not really given much of a choice right now, am I? So tell me why I should spare you, Ezekiel. Or Harold. Anyone, give me a reason.
Um, I can put in a good word for you. Maybe you can be a priest.
I'm gonna cast Chill Hand.
Yeah, sure. He has no way of getting out.
Yeah.
Donkeys are not adept leapers, like, for height. Um, and basically you can keep casting until he dies. It'll take a few casts at least. But you can kill him.
I'm gonna kill him. I mean, I don't know what else to do. He was trying to use me, and I can't, like, I might be mad at Althea, but I can't let her be, from what I seem to understand, I can't let her be possessed. So, if this is the most efficient way to get back at this guy, this is the way that I have to do it.
Sure, yeah. You're gonna kill his soul bond, and there you go.
I don't like doing this. I don't like hurting a... Ugh.
Hey, but it's...
Yeah, it's the rational thing to do.
He's an evil donkey, Ian.
Yeah.
Not a nice donkey, an evil donkey.
Not a nice donkey. I liked him, though. I liked Ezekiel. He had spunk, but, well, he's an evil dude, so...
Alright, so you cast Chill Touch over and over, and Cornflower, and... Sephra seems okay. Cornflower is, like, covering her eyes.
Yeah.
Harold is, like, looking away, but the storm sounds have sort of quieted.
Yeah, I think I start with Chill Hand, and then I just cast Toll the Dead, and I'm just ringing a bell until he dies.
Mm-hmm. And he does die, and he shuffles over, falling down, dead.
I'm sorry, Cornflower, that you had to see that, but...
It's alright. It just seemed... It was not pleasant.
It wasn't pleasant for me either. But in order to save my friends and help your mistress, it felt like the only option I had in front of me.
I'm sorry I could have killed him and saved the trouble, but I do not wish to harm anything anymore. I do not think that is what the mistress would want. Thank you for doing what I was too craven to act upon.
Merihym thinks back to his sword and that he dropped and tries to push away the memory when he speaks of the not wanting to hurt people anymore thing.
Yeah, it appears at your side.
He looks at it and walks away.
Sure. You don't get far. You hear Harold saying something to Sephra. A door opens, closes. But then, not a door, but a staircase appears right here. And coming down it is one of the men in the dragonfly armor.
Oof. Love it.
And we don't have time to hide?
Nope. Seems like he's aware of where he's looking, and there's not really anywhere to hide. The water is too shallow, you would be visible.
Okay.
Your hole, do you leave it there with a dead donkey in it?
I mean, I don't want to waste another spell covering it up. So.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to put it on the right layer then. Alright, but the dragonfly guard comes down, sees you, he buzzes, he just goes...
Hello.
And he lifts his spear and points it at you. Please roll initiative, Ian.
Got it. Nat 20.
Alright.
No, 17, but plus 20. Plus 3 to 20.
Okay, and can you roll initiative again?
Yes, I can. 22.
Okay, nice. So you will go first because she's going to defer to you, but Sephra will be going on the... She'll be going at 19 in the initiative order.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
And I'll just go ahead and break DM code. Sephra, Just backing you up.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. Okay.
Love to be the fighting boy.
With this character, Maximilian's Earthen Grasp is the spell I'm able to use. I'm gonna cast that on this guy.
Okay. So you cast it. He will make his saving throw. What is your
Strength.
DC? 17. I
17.
can see it. Yeah, he succeeds.
Okay, well, there is a hand right here
Let me get you
between
that.
us. And, yeah, I don't really have too much. I assume that he can fly, so I'm going to back off. Yeah, I'm going to back off a good amount.
Okay.
I'm going to try and lure him towards me, though,
Okay.
as much as I can go. Oh, I'll run through the water.
Okay.
Yeah.
Difficult terrain, but
Then I won't run.
you could make it around it. Easy.
Yeah, yeah. I'll just run around it.
Just
then.
it's deep enough that it would be splash,
Gotcha.
splash, splash. Okay, but you make it over to that side, and he is going to. You're correct. He's going to fly. So he gets up. He takes 30 feet of flying movement to get to here, and then he will rush up to you. And he is going to sort of just try and lunge at you with his spear. Sorry. Disgusting noise. That is
Okay.
a 22 to hit.
That will hit.
Okay. He does 6 points of piercing damage with his spear.
Cool.
Then he is going to attack you a second time. That is only a 10 to hit.
Okay, that'll miss.
Alrighty. Next up, it was Sephra's turn. Just nothing that she could have done, so let's just drop her in here.
Perfect.
Sephra is going to just move forward, and now she's going to cast Healing Word on you.
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Nature's Grace, and you get 8 points of health back.
Nice. Up to full.
Yep. Okay, it's your turn. When he moves, like there is a disgusting like grasshopper wing from Bug's Life.
Yeah,
sound.
buzzing sound.
And when he grits his teeth, you can see that he has mandibles as like his canines.
And you said he moved 30 feet?
He has 60 feet of movement because he's able to fly.
Oh. Okay, I'll use my action to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll use my action to move that there. And then I'll use my... I don't have a bonus action, so I'm just gonna let it. I'm just gonna let it ride. And I'll take the hit if I have to.
Okay. Next up, it is his turn. So he will use another 2 attacks. Why not?
Okay.
That's what he mainly does. So the first attack is an 11. That'll miss.
Yep.
Second attack, another 11. So that
Perfect.
will work. When that doesn't work, he is going to use his bonus action. And he is going to reach down at his side. And he is going to clap his hand on his sort of thigh armor. And there is the sound like a tambourine being rung.
Okay.
And you feel the ground beneath you begin to shake. You are now in what is considered difficult terrain for your next turn.
Sure. Okie dokie.
Okay, next
Is
up.
Sephra gonna do something?
Yeah, next up it's Sephra's turn. Sephra is going to run to here. She's going to cast Poison Spray.
That's my girl.
He succeeds on the saving throw, though.
Oh. Yeah, it is my turn again, right?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, with that, this should be 30 feet. Yep. I'm gonna move that 30 feet and grab him.
Okay. He fails.
Okay, cool. So he is restrained, and he takes 2d6 bludgeoning. So 10 damage, 10 bludgeoning damage. And then I'm just gonna walk out of his range. Can he make a opportunity attack when he's restrained? I don't know.
I think he can. Yeah, Marcus did earlier. So
Okay.
yeah. That is a 17.
At disadvantage?
I don't think that you have to make it a disadvantage.
I'm pretty sure you do if you're
okay,
restrained.
Then 16.
Stuff that's... Okay.
Okay, you take 9 points of piercing damage.
That's fine. 5, 4, 58. Okay, cool. I'm gonna do that, and then I'll move back. It's 30 feet. So 1, 2, 3. I'll move back 15 feet.
Okay. All right. For his turn, he is going to try to break free. He got a 22.
Ooh. Well, yeah, he'll break free of that then.
Okay, and then he is going to fly up into.
Wait, was it a strength check or saving throw?
Saving throw.
It's a strength check to break free, when it's breaking out of the grasp.
Oh, okay, so dirty 20 then.
But you still do it then. Okay.
And then he will just use his movement to fly up 30 feet in the air, but get right here.
Okay. In that case...
Well, actually, he's only 20 feet up because he had to move 10 feet vertical or horizontal.
Gotcha.
Get you right there. Sephra is going to try and cast that thorn whip thing that druids can do.
Mm-hmm.
She'll hit with this one.
Nice.
Yeah, she does a good amount of damage to him. I need to get something from my throat right now. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I got some bubbles in my throat.
The thorn whip also pulls him closer, right?
I think they make a strength saving throw, don't they? Or no, they don't, because that's one of those ridiculous first level spells that can do something that it shouldn't be able to do without a saving throw.
I think it's one of those things where it's not a saving throw. It's like, does it hit or not? Here, I'll look it up.
That's just ridiculous. Like, lightning lure doesn't do any damage, though.
It doesn't?
No.
Yeah, if the creature is large or smaller, you pull
Okay.
the creature up to 10 foot closer to you.
Wow. Okay, so he goes down to 15 feet in the air and
Okay.
gets pulled right there.
All right, and after she does that, I'm gonna cast. I don't have a lot of action spells, so I'm gonna cast Toll the Dead, and he needs to make a Wisdom saving throw.
Okay. He fails.
Nice.
So
24 damage.
Jesus, dude.
I rolled 2 max damage on a d12.
Okay, he is extremely bloodied, and he grabs both sides of his head and goes.
If you want to live, you might leave now.
And he flies, and he turns and he claps his right thigh, and you see the head of his spear crackles with lightning, and he turns and he's going to throw it at you.
Okie dokie. I'm gonna make... Okay, am I rolling or...
I
are
am
you
rolling.
Okay.
Okay, it is a 24.
I'm gonna use a luck.
Okay, so he rerolls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it is a 22.
Okay, cool. That'll do it. I'm gonna cast Shield.
What does that put your AC at?
It's +6, right? Oh, fuck, never mind. 22. Never mind. Okay, I wouldn't have cast Shield. Sorry, I did the math wrong.
No problem.
Yeah, I'll get hit.
Okay, You take 10 points of piercing damage and 11 points of lightning damage.
Whew. 21.
And then the spear pulls back to him, and you take 1 point of piercing damage as it comes out.
Oh, Jesus.
And it flies back to his hand, but he seems intent on retreating now.
Okay.
It is Sephra's turn. Sephra is going to run beneath him, jump into the air, and cast poison spray. No, that doesn't work. I guess she'll just use Thorn Whip again. Misses this time, though.
Dang.
Okay, and now it is your turn.
Okay, cool. 60 feet. How far is he from me?
He is 15 feet in the air, where he is right now.
Okay.
So,
Like within 60 feet still?
Yeah.
Okay, doke. In that case, I am going to... I'll cast Toll the Dead again.
okay. Yeah, he fails. 10 necrotic damage. It's enough to put this boy in the grave.
I told you you could leave. Not attack me again, you little swine.
He,
I'm gonna pick up a spear.
yeah, he crumbles into like a much smaller shape, and
Ugh.
writhes in pain as he goes, and his wings keep twitching. And Ian, I think the rest of
Yes.
this is going to be influenced by your pals.
Love it.
So let's call that where we're going to stop.
That was good. I like these little solo excursions.
All right,
Oh.
we're just going to be don't be sad, but we're going to be there. We go. We're just going to be having a little bit of fun, a little bit of.
Okay.
All right, but so you have just defeated the dragonfly soldier, and Cornflower and Sephra are with you.
Okay. Well, is this like a situation where we should be moving on fast before more of them show?
I think that it's probably a good idea if he could send them here, then he'll probably send them through here again to keep looking. So, might be a good idea to press forward, and I don't know. We might be able to take a turn and have a short break for you.
That might be appreciated, yeah.
All right, let's get going then. And she begins to lead you. She sort of takes you by your hand, and you notice that she is kind of guiding you. Like it's a very friendly way of moving you forward. And you continue down this cavern, and you do hear something fluttering behind you. Cornflower scurries up your arm,
Oh.
and sort of covers her mouth to indicate, like, shh. And you all continue to go, and there are a few forks in your path. The materials of the rock changing, and you notice that the path that Sephra seems to be taking, the rocks are getting like darker, and more. It's like ancient igneous rock mixed with metamorphic rock,
Okay.
and you're starting to get colder. And then eventually she comes to a silver door, and she just tears it open and lunges through, with you and Cornflower in tow. And you fall headfirst into a patch of snow.
Oh. I have cold resistance, I think.
Yeah, so
So
I mean,
I don't care.
you're certainly fine, but
Are you okay, Cornflower? Are you cold?
I'm okay. I'm all right.
I open my tweed jacket up so that Cornflower can, like...
Skitter.
Okay.
She gets right inside.
Yeah.
Sephra, are we, where are we?
I don't see any pools like we've been seeing this whole time, do I?
No, you do not, but you do see these rock formations that seem to just sort of be, they're like 3 feet out of the snowy ground. There are these big boulders just kind of sitting there, and they all have, they all seem kind of free of snow on top.
Interesting. I'll walk up and I'll put my hand on it and see if it's a similar situation.
You don't get taken through any type of memory, but does seem a little bit warm.
Sephra, do you know what these, rocks are?
Oh, yes. And she puts her hands on it, and it's sort of like, her facial expression is like when people sit in front of a roaring fire and hold their hands out. She smiles and says, "These are the, there's not really a good name for it in the common tongue. I guess stones of soft fire would be the closest thing to it. It's a giant expression. It sounds a lot nicer. These are made by fire giants.
Oh.
It keeps you warm in the depth of winter, but not so warm that you get hot." And she sort of hoists herself up to sit on it.
I just, I just look at the rock and it's 3 feet up.
It's about 3 feet up, yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna do like a little running jump to try and get on it.
Yeah, make an acrobatics
Gracefully.
check just to see how graceful you are. You'll get up, unless it's a... Yeah, there you go. You get up, but you kind of... Oh! And cornflower almost falls out of your jacket.
Oh no! Sorry, cornflower. That's, been a while since I've had to do a maneuver like that.
It's alright. But
This is a nice area.
yeah, when you step onto it, you do feel just like a calm, warming presence. It's like you're back in the mess hall of the Lion's Hope in the Temple of Tityr.
Nice. So it's like perfectly comfortable.
Yeah.
Where are we? Is this a memory?
Yes. Everything in here is like a memory. You know, misremembered things. You know when you dream, how sometimes you'll see like your house, but when you
But
walk
different.
into one room, yeah, when you walk into one room, it's the house of someone else that you once loved and you spent some time there. It's like that. Everything is sort of rearranged. Like, and she points off to the east. There used to be, there is supposed to be 2 mountains right there.
Oh.
And they're not here right now.
Do you remember what mountains those were?
Yes. They were the mother and father. That's what the giants called them. It was, there was a point in the day where if you were sitting in the village square, you could see the mountain between the two, you could see the sun between the 2 mountain peaks. It's a beautiful sight.
It does sound nice. Maybe one day I'll be able to find this place in the real world.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Were they destroyed?
I doubt that the mountains were, but... Do you ever feel... your companions that came in with you? Do you ever
Yeah.
feel like you get a premonition when something bad might happen to them?
More than you know, yes.
Time moves rather slippery in here, but I don't know. Every time I come to the memories of the mistress by way of the village where she and I met. I feel like something's missing. And it wasn't always like this. For what I imagined was a few hundred years, maybe even more, I would feel like there was something real about where I was, and now I feel like I'm in the last vision of it. Do you understand?
Do these stones need fire giants in order to stay active?
Oh no, the enchantment on them is strong. Here, do you want to? And she slides off and says, "Well, do you need to rest?"
I could use a rest if you'd like to just sit and chat for a while, as long as this is a safe space.
Sure, sure.
Might I ask, how much do you know about giant culture?
I know quite a bit. My husband was raised here in the village, and when he left, he always wanted to go back when he had children, and so when we were married, after a few years, we went back and lived there until our children were about 10.
So you know about their religious figures and their mythos, I suppose, as well.
Oh, well, sure, yeah. There's not a lot, not too complicated. There's a lot more loving the moment.
Yeah, of course. Is there anything... Oh, sorry, I should be up here. I should be here. Is there anything that you could tell me about... It's the Night Wolf and... who?
So,
Okay.
there is the Storm Father, who is the father of all giants. Not literally, but in the sense of, he's their guardian,
Yeah.
their shepherd almost. And then, I mean, there are other figures in Yornish myth, but the Night Wolf is the protector of the earth from the eternal dragon.
The Eternal Dragon.
Yeah,
That's
and
what I thought.
it's Loden, not Earth.
Yeah.
But that is my fault.
What do you know about... Because time has passed quite a lot, as we have discussed. What do you all know about the Night Wolf and the Eternal Dragon?
Well, not as much. They weren't particularly popular. They were, minor figures in giant festivals and that sort of thing. But I do know that the Eternal Dragon is great evil, and that before his coming, it was said that 4 of his children spread across the stars would return.
4 of his children spread across the stars would return. Does that ring any bells to merihym?
You could make a religion check.
Not his specialty, but worth a try.
I mean, it makes sense that it wouldn't be a specialty too, since it's outside of Hallandor. I think that
Yeah.
works particularly well.
13.
Okay. So you actually, I think what comes to your mind is in the Bolero of Flame. Just as you're sitting there trying to think about something, you remember that the old god of the dragons, the last one who was sort of taken down, he was cut in half. And his upper half flew out of the Earth's atmosphere. And where his blood fell on Loden, not the Earth, where his blood fell on Loden, that was where some of the younger, more powerful than even regular dragons sprang up from where his blood landed. And perhaps where he flew, his blood dropped as well.
What were you saying again? The children of the Eternal Dragon.
Yes, they're gonna come back first, try to eat their fill.
That's not great.
Well, no, certainly not. That's why it's always good to make sure that the giants stay hidden.
There's something that I should tell you. And I don't know how it affects a person such as yourself, a memory of a person at the very least. The giants are all gone.
Ah. Well,
I do not know exactly the circumstances, but it was only a couple of months ago, right? At this point?
for you, it's been like a month, a little over a month, really.
Barely over a month ago, the storm started. I don't know where or why the last of the giants passed, but any information from a culture older than ours that could help us turn the tide of the oncoming apocalypse would be helpful, because we are dealing with at least 2 at the moment. Maybe actually 3. Actually, yes, it is 3 apocalypses at the moment.
Right, okay, alright. And for the rest of your short rest, she basically seems to be giving you everything that she can. In terms of
Okay, I am
information.
taking copious notes.
Yeah, but so you can take the short rest if you want to roll your hit dice. I know that do you want to just assume that you used them until you were full? Because I think you
Yeah.
were a little under half, and she would heal you up to that point.
Yeah, I'll just assume that I used them until I was full at that point.
Okay, that works. Most of what she's telling you seem to actually be like giant cultural things.
Mm-hmm.
Like the marriage ceremony of the giants, where for 3 days, like, you always get married on the last day of the week, and for the first 3 days, the couple have to be tied together, and they have to stay within the same house, and no one else can go in to help them with anything. And then they spend the next 3 days completely isolated from each other. And then on the 7th day, a representative of each of them will go to the other one and basically say, yes, they would still like to get married to you. And then the marriage will happen. There are some tips about rearing giant children, basically, about how once a giant is 2, from that point onward, they will be able to make themselves normal sized to blend in, but it will not be something that they can control really, really well until they're about 10. And then when they're 10, the rest of the elements of their giant heritage will come into play. So storm giants will begin to have a relationship to the weather and the climate. Fire giants will begin to have control over flames, heat, temperature, that sort of thing. She also explains that when a giant comes of complete physical maturity, they will basically remain at that age until they decide to change their physical age. And that most of what will change it is basically, if giants leave the giant village, they feel a pressure to stay in one sort of appearance for a while, and then they will just sort of naturally, without thinking, slip up and start aging. And then the giants who stayed in the village, their human friends would age. And so for them, it felt weird not to have any changes happen, and they just sort of let it happen too. But essentially, giants were immortal. They just caved
Chose not to be.
They just caved to peer pressure. Well, and they had a different relationship to death.
Yeah.
There was an understanding that this was a temporary arrangement, being alive, essentially.
Gotcha.
And then once she sees that you seem to be rested, she says, "There's something I would show you. It's a bit of a hike, and it's not necessarily where we need to go. But do you mind if I show you?"
Absolutely.
And she falls down and lands into the snow, and she starts running off towards what you see as the east.
I will follow.
Yep. And you come to run. The snow starts to pick up in your eyes, both from her running and from seemingly like a blizzard that's picking up. And Cornflower like nuzzles into you. And then all of a sudden the snow just goes away, and you are in just a regular sunny zone. And Sephra is in front of you, and she is in front of this mountain, because there is a massive mountain in front of you. It's one of the largest you've ever seen, almost as big as the Ortishan Mountains.
Oh, wow.
And Sephra walks up to it, and she says, "We are beneath it to the south. I am going to show you something that only the giants and those from the village that kept them hidden know about."
Is it okay for me to write this down, just in case?
Yes. If
I'm writing all of
giants
this.
are gone, merihym, I think I can trust you.
I'm writing all of it down.
I can't show you what's inside because I didn't see what was inside until I was much older, but I knew that this is how you got in.
Do you remember what's inside from your older self?
No.
What's the significance?
The giants seem to believe that something hidden in there was it's possible that it could help keep the eternal dragon from feasting.
Well then, I'll need to remember all of this, won't I?
I don't think I have like a spell that takes a picture.
No, I don't think you do.
I don't think any D&D spells take pictures, which is a shame, to be frank.
Marcus knows somebody who can, but only in this world. Only in this little brain prison.
Oh, that's...
Do you know the exact location?
Yes, if you face it from perfectly to the south. If we could wait until nightfall, I could show you the position of the dark star in the sky.
Is that something that we can do, Ben?
Yeah, and in about 10 minutes it becomes nightfall.
Perfect.
And you can see you can sketch the position of the dark star, which functions as basically the North Star of this universe. It is the 5th planet, the closest one to Odin.
Nice. I have a Scholar's Pack, which I don't know what's in it, but it sounds like that comes in handy in this moment.
Certainly. And I think you would almost... It would be ridiculous for you to be as smart as you are and not understand the principles of navigation, if not the practice of it.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Basically I'm writing down, and I'm just writing down the details of like where she shows me the entrance is, especially details like around the entranceway on the stone, since like trees and landscape will change much faster than that.
Okay, and so when you see it, you do see that there is this sort of. It looks like there should be a cave.
Gotcha.
Is sort of what you see. There are these two sort of almost symmetrical bends of rock that come out, and then there is a concave surface going in. And if you are taking notes, I appreciate it, but I will also.
Oh, okay, cool.
This is something that merihym will remember. This is not
Cool.
going to be something that I make you remember. And you watch as she moves forward and places her hand onto what you see is basically when you get closer you see there is this massive it's not something that's been discovered, so let me quickly reconsider my notes and this entire world. You see what appear to be these massive grooves that are in this sort of oval shape. And she reaches forward and places her hand onto the center. And when she does, she looks at you and points across, and you see that there is another similar groove oval that's very, very big. And she says,
Awesome.
It'll take two.
Two what? Two people?
Two people to open the chamber beneath the mountain.
We'll make sure that we have enough.
Do you want to see if you can? I'd like it if you would touch it. I would feel that you would remember better. I'm
Okay,
sorry,
yeah, I'll touch
I
it.
just want to be sure.
I touch it. I trust
Well,
Sufra.
So when you reach out to touch it, you feel something there that you can't see before your hand can reach the center.
Ooh.
It feels like the hilt of an invisible sword.
I'll take the sword.
You can't take it out. What are you doing? You can just put your hand on it.
All right. I put my hand on it.
You can't put it right in the center. There is this hilt there. What? Just put your hand in the center of the mock.
There's a sword.
What?
There's a sword in there.
I don't remember that. That doesn't make any sense.
I look down at my waist. Is there the sword at my waist?
Yeah, that's still there. She walks over and you see she reaches for it and she says, and she looks up at the mountain after just giving an exasperated sigh. She says, this place was important to Giafor and to all the giants. I think something that happened after she died managed to bleed in.
To bleed in.
If you go to the mountain, I think there's a sword there now, locked in to the gate. It would prevent it from being opened.
Let me see if I have like a light spell or anything that in. Well, I mean, I have dark vision. Can I see the sword in there, or is it just like there's nothing?
There's nothing, but then when you reach out, you can
You can
feel
feel
it.
it.
If you would like to make a history check, I can tell you what culture the sword is. if you
Yeah,
like.
honestly, yeah, might as well. There we go, history.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a Yornish greatsword that is stuck in there. And it seems to have been driven in. I'm just going to tell you because you feel like you got the history of even the motion. It feels like it was driven in just to leave it there.
Oh.
Not as a sign of malice. It seems
Oh, like to hide it?
possibly. And you actually get something from running your hand along it. You sense that it is a rune in Giant.
Interesting. I'm gonna try something. I'm not sure if it works with the weird way that things work. I'm going to take out some parchment and get one of those like a piece of charcoal, and I'm going to try and trace the rune
Yeah, and
if I can.
you start doing so, and you succeed.
Okay. I don't know if merihym knows giant runes, but give me a long rest and I'll be able to read all languages.
Yeah. So I will tell you that it is the giant rune. I'll tell you now. But if you want to remind me and you want to just mention, oh yeah, I'm at this time I figure out what the giant rune means for merihym, but just so that I know, the rune is sun. S-U-N.
A giant rune of sun on a sword. Okay. Good to know. I'll relay that to Sephra. There's a giant. I'll show it to them and be like, "There's a giant rune on here. Does that mean anything to you?"
Yes. That was the champion's sword. It had that word emblazoned on the hilt. But that was lost, even when the mistress was a child.
Well, it seems like someone found it. Did it here?
Serendipity, I suppose. Well, we should get going. Get you back to your friends.
Yes. Thank you for showing me this. I'll make sure that this is, if not the next place we go. Well, this is the Mother and Father Mountain. I assume it's close to where.
No, this is not the mother and father.
Oh, which mountain is this?
This is. It's called the Child.
Oh.
But it has a giant name. So it's called the Glitter Tog.
Okay. Does that area sound familiar to me at all?
Yeah, you do know that the Glitter Tog Mountain is the biggest mountain north of the Shroud.
And that's in. Oh wait, isn't the Shroud above Yorn?
No, the Shroud separates Yorn and Dalrayoth. It separates the north from
Gotcha.
the Green Kingdoms and the Trade Kingdoms.
Okay. All right, that's where we're going next. Thank you, Sephra. Let's save your friend, huh? Let's save the mistress.
Of course. And she leads you back to the heat rocks, and you see now that there is a silvery door. And she says, "I think we got just one more stop."
Well, let's make it then. And I'll go through the door.
Yeah, and her and Cornflower follow you, and you find yourself now in another snowy spot. You exit your door, and it disappears behind you. There is a section of the ground that is not covered in snow, and there are 4 similar spaces all around you. Each of them, there is this large... It's like a circular mosaic piece in the center of each of them. And there is a outline of a silver door across from you, sort of opposite this large patch of dirt. from where you arrived, but it is not corporeal.
I would like to examine the mosaics.
Yeah, sure. And you go over there, and you lean over, and you can see that it's just a singular piece. It's just like one tile that would be in a larger mosaic. But it is perfectly circular, and the one in front of you is green.
Okay. And then I'll do the same at all of them, and I notice that they're purple and red and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Anything unique about them?
Doesn't seem to be. I need you to make a perception check.
Okay. Nope.
Okay. You hear Sephra and Cornflower talking when all of a sudden Sephra shouts, "Look out!" And you turn around, and there is a massive white-scaled lizard creature with this open mouth with these needle-like fangs leaning over you. And it looks like it is just about to take a bite out of your upper torso when you just hear Althea's voice say, "Oh, no!" And then you see a massive hand appear. Like when you are casting Maximilian's Earthen Grasp, and this hand just scoops up the lizard, which seems to then revert to, not in appearance, but in demeanor, like a gecko being picked up by a child. It just kind of seems to go limp and be lifted up until both the hand and the lizard seem to sort of pass through a veil and are gone.
Oh. Well, that was fortunate. You take notes that Althea is looking out for him. Well, he didn't look out for her.
Mm?
And then, like, kind of looking around and making sure to keep a keener eye on his surroundings, he goes back to examining everything.
Yeah, so you do see that the mosaic pieces, they are very, very thin. They're light enough for someone. Sephra could easily carry them. You could carry them without much difficulty.
Okay. I go and examine this patch here with, like, the door. Do I see anything circular to, like, put them in?
So the door is more like over here.
Oh, sorry. Down there.
Yeah, there is nothing. There are two sort of circular indentations about the size of each mosaic.
Got you. There's only two. Okay. Yeah, I'll take one and I'll ask Sephra to bring the purple one, and we'll try putting them in.
All right. And she goes over and she does pick it up, and she brings it over, sets it down. You brought the green one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, when you set them down, you just see both of them go half black and half white. Sort of like a yin-yang, but without the curve or the drops. A yin-yang symbol.
Yeah.
A yin-yang isn't anything, and I'm not... I know that.
And I look over and the door is still...
Silvery. Just an outline.
Have you ever seen this before, Sephra?
Yeah, well, this is the farthest I've been. I haven't been able to pick them up. I think you telling me to get one is able to...
Oh.
That I don't know
Well,
if I'm instrumental in solving this.
Can you bring the purple one back? And
Sure.
I'm going to grab the yellow one.
Sure.
And bring it back over.
She drops the purple one down. When you set the yellow one down, you see the yellow one remains the same, and there just seems to be slightly more red and blue mixed in with the white and black. Not enough that it is truly that color, but it seems like well, actually, just the white. The black stays the same. The yellow, the white, it's kind of like it had its yellow reduced of like the color sliders that you get from editors. That's kind of how it looks.
Okay.
I know that's an imperfect way to describe it. in a fantasy medium, but
Hmm. All right. Merihym knows that green and red are opposites on the color spectrum.
yeah. And by the way, just from looking at what she did when she set the purple down, it became purple again.
Okay. He's gonna ask Sepher to grab the red one, and he's gonna bring the yellow one back.
Sure. When you set the yellow one down, it just seems to get like a glossy yellow sheen as soon as you set it down, and then it just seems like it's normal.
Okay.
And she picks up the red one and says, "Do you want me to set it down?"
Yes. Let's see what happens.
All right. And when she sets it down, you see that this disc, the one that came from the green mosaic piece, originally green, it is now blue and black.
Blue and black, and the red one is red.
Red one has remained red.
Okay, so it's not about their opposite colors. Blue and black, green and red.
Like, so basically you have one disc, one circle that is half blue and half black at the moment. The black side has stayed consistently the same. When you had it as the green and yellow, both of the discs were, or green and purple rather, both of the discs were half white, half black, looked identical to each other. When you put the yellow one in, the white side seemed to be predominantly, like it actually seemed to be a little purple. It was like a mix of blue and red. And then when you put down the red one, it seemed to just remain blue. And
The white part remained blue while the black part stayed black.
yes, so it was previously sort of purple. When you set down the red part, it became blue. The white part originally.
I'm gonna. So we've got the red. I'm trying to think of like what I know about color and which is the.
Have I composed a puzzle that you feel like you don't know enough about colors? Because I love color wheel. It's my primary way of designing color palettes is by looking at the color wheel. So this might be.
I'm assuming that I have to make things blue because of the blue color scheme. My storyline.
I will tell you that is that's the major solution to the puzzle. If you come up
So
with
the green
something
one-
else, then
The green one is blue.
well, it is
right now.
currently blue and black, half blue, half black.
Blue and black.
Like I'll tell you this: when you saw the purples sort of fade to blue, you saw 1/4 of a door over here.
Oh, okay.
Shimmer in the
So it
beam.
is the blue. So I have to figure out. Okay. Green and red are opposites. That kind of created a blue. Green and purple just created black and white. Yellow and green created a yellow. So I'm going to replace the green.
Yeah, when you
With-
take the green back and you set it down, it just becomes green again.
And then I'm going to take
So
the
you
purple and put that in instead.
so you have currently red and purple. When you set down the purple one next to the red remains the same, and the purple one becomes blue. When you had set down the green one, the door had disappeared, and now there is half of the door in sight when you have the purple
Okay.
disc.
And when the green was there with the red, was there also half the door, or was it a quarter?
It
of the
was
door?
a quarter of the door.
Okay, I'm gonna pick up the purple, and I'm not gonna bring it back. Does it reset everything?
When you
I'm just gonna pick it
no,
up.
when you pick up the purple, seems just fine.
It stays blue.
Stays blue. The door is still half there.
Okay, then I'm gonna put the purple down on one of the squares, just not in the slot.
Yeah, no problem.
And then I'm going to
grab the green and put it here.
Okay. You watch as both discs become black and white.
The green and red are black and white?
Yep. In the same manner that the green and purple were.
Okay, then I will grab the yellow and use that instead of the green.
Okay. When you set the yellow down, you are now holding the black and white green disc that hasn't been reset. You set down the yellow one in its place, and you watch as the red one remains black and white, and the yellow one becomes black and white.
Okay, I'll reset the green one.
Okay.
And does that bring everything back to normal?
No, just the green one. So you have
Got you.
a blue
Okay.
a blue one, and then you have your two black and white ones that are the yellow and the red.
Okay, then I'll reset both of them.
Okay.
And the purple one stays blue, right?
Purple one is still blue.
Okay, I'll bring green and yellow back.
And you set them down?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You watch as the green one loses its yellow and just becomes blue.
Perfect. Okay.
And,
And then
the door
is whole,
the
right?
door is whole.
Perfect. And I'm like, all right, tieflings don't have the same color, like cones in their eyes, so things are a little different. It's not my expertise. He lies and kind of brings everybody towards the door.
Well, I think this is goodbye, merihym.
What do you mean? Why not come
I
forward?
know that I can't go any further. It's just something I can sense.
Well, so this is goodbye then. Assuming that my friends and I succeed.
Yes, but I want you and your friends to succeed.
It was an honor meeting you, and I thank you for everything and all of your help.
Well, it was an honor meeting you, and just keep in mind when, if in some time you are face to face with your impending unmaking because someone helps out your friend, just remember that life was always a temporary arrangement.
I know. And he goes to shake Zephyr's hand.
She shakes your hand.
And he turns to Cornflower, who's still tiny, right?
She's still tiny at the moment, yes.
And I lift her up in my hand and I say, thank you for saving me every time that you did. Wouldn't have gotten through this without you.
Oh, it was nothing.
And I give them a little scritch.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I put Cornflower on Zephyr's shoulder. And I go towards the door and I go to open it. And Merihym's phantom hand, like almost instinctually, like his shoulders like almost roll back. Like he looks like his body language is that of like a different person. Of someone who's like, is filled with action and almost heroism in his stance, and he looks down at the sword at his hip, and looking back up, he just asks, "How did Dalbert know about this? I haven't talked to anyone about this in a very long time."
Do you mind if I draw it? Or do you mind drawing it and handing it to me?
he takes his left hand, or he takes his remaining hand and draws the sword tentatively. I mean, it wasn't his sword hand, so it's a little awkward, but he draws it.
Yeah, and she
hands it to Sephra.
Yeah, and when she takes it, you see a smile just immediately crosses her face. Oh, this wasn't the dragonfly man.
What do you mean?
It was a spirit here, but it wasn't a dragonfly. Harold got this. Harold put this on your hip. I think he thought it would make you feel more grounded.
Well, then I suppose maybe I shouldn't throw it away, like I thought. And I'll take the sword back and try to replace it in its sheath.
Yeah, you're able to do it. This is your old friend, even though it's a different hand.
Thank you, Sephra.
Yeah, thank you.
Perhaps one day we will see each other again.
I would hope not, but for your sake. But I wouldn't mind.
And with a smile, he goes through the door.
Yeah, and well, Merihym, you step through the door, and you find yourself in another large void. And you hear, when you step through,
I'll never forget you, Masquesh. You're the only one that watched me beat off a troll.
and then you see that on other staircases and facing other doors, as you now face, far off in the distance, you see the other members of the Lion's Hope. And we're gonna go into the group game now. Thanks for watching, everyone.